word of Adonai came to me. Now, human being, are you prepared to judge? Are you prepared to judge the city drenched in blood? Then make her realize how disgusting all her practices are. Say that Adonai Elohim says, city that sheds blood within yourself, thus spreading your own doom, that makes idols for yourself that defile you. You are guilty because of the blood you have shed. You are defiled by your idols that you have made. You have shortened your days, you have completed your years. Therefore, I have made you an object of scorn for the nations and laughingstock for every country. Those close by and those so far off will taunt you. You will have such a defiled reputation, such great disorder. Leaders of Israel and you all use their power in order to shed blood. In you, they make light of fathers and mothers. They oppress foreigners. They wrong orphans and widows. You treat my holy things with contempt. You profane my Shabbats. In you, people gossip to the point of inciting bloodshed. In you are those who go to eat on the mountaintops. In you they commit lewd acts. In you they commit incest. In you they force themselves on women during their menstrual impurity. In you one commits an abomination with his neighbor's wife, another commits some lewd act, defiling his daughter-in-law. Another humbles his sister, his own father's daughter. In you people take bribes to shed blood. You demand and accept interest on loans. In greed, you make profits off all your neighbors by exhorting them. You have forgotten me, says Adonai Elohim. Therefore, I'm clapping my hands together because your ill-gotten gains and the bloodshed in you. Can your courage last? Can your strength continue during the days when I deal with you? I, Adonai, have spoken it, and I will do it. I will scatter you among the nations and disperse you throughout the countries. Thus I will remove your defilement from you. You will cause yourself to be profaned and full of view of the nations. Then you will know that I am Adonai. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. The house of Israel has become an alloy of base metals for me. They are all copper, tin, iron, and lead mixed together in the crucible. Cross left over from the silver. Therefore Adonai Elohim says this, because you have all become dross, I will collect all of you inside Jerusalem. Then, just as they collect silver, copper, iron, lead, and tin into a crucible and blow fire into it and melt it down, so likewise I will collect you in my anger and fury, throw you in there, melt you down. Yes, I will collect you and blow on you with the fire of my rage. You will be melted down in it. As silver is melted down in the crucible, so you will be melted down in Jerusalem. Then you will know that it is I, Adonai, who have poured out my fury upon you. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. Tell her this. You are a land that is neither cleansed nor raised on in the dry fury. There is a conspiracy of prophets. It is like a roaring lion tearing up its prey. They have devoured people, seized wealth and valuables, and widowed many in it. Her Kohanim has done violence to my Torah, profaned my holy things, made no difference between the holy and the common, not distinguished between unclean and clean, hidden their eyes from my Shabbats, and profaned me among themselves. Her leaders in it are like wolves tearing up the prey to shed blood and destroy the people in order to benefit unjustly. Her prophets have plastered for them with whitewash, seeing false visions and divining lies for them, saying, "Thus says Adonai Elohim," when Adonai has not spoken. The people of the land had exhorted, robbed, wronged the poor and needy, and unjust oppressed the foreigners. I sought for a man among them who could build a barricade or stand and break to oppose me on behalf of the land, so then I would not destroy it. But I found no one. Therefore I am pouring out my fury on them, consuming them with the fire of my rage, burning their own ways on their own heads, says Adonai Elohim. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. There were 2 women, daughters of the same mother, who were whores in Egypt. Even as young girls, they were whores. They let their breasts be caressed, and their virgin nipples were fondled. Their names were Oholah, the older one, and Oholibah, her sister. They belonged to me, and they gave birth to sons and daughters. As for their names, Shamron is Aloha, and Jerusalem is Oholibah. Even when she belonged to me, Oholah prostituted herself. She lusted after her lovers Ashur, warriors dressed in blue, governors, rulers, all of them good-looking young men riding on horseback. She gave herself as a whore to them, all of them the elite of Ashur, and she defiled herself with all the idols of everyone she lusted after. She did not give up the whoring she had begun in Egypt when men had sex with her. She fondled her virgin nipples and flooded her with their fornication. So I handed her over to her lovers, the men of Ashur she lusted after. They exposed her private parts, took her sons and daughters, and put her to death by the sword. She became notorious among women for the judgments executed against her. Her sister Oliva saw this. Nevertheless, she was worse than her sister in lusting and likewise in whoring. She lusted after the men of Ashur, governors, rulers, warriors, dressed to perfection, skilled horsemen, all of them good-looking young men. I saw that she had defiled herself. Both sisters had gone down the same path. She prostituted herself more than ever because she saw wall carvings of men depicted the Kasdim in vermilion, with sashes wrapped around their waists and flowing turbans on their heads, all of them looking like military men and the very image of men above all born in the land of the Kasdim. The moment she saw them, she lusted after them and sent messengers to them in the land of the Kasdim. The men above all climbed into her love bed and defiled her with their lust. She was defiled by them and then filled with revulsion at them. Thus did she reveal her fornication, expose her private parts. When this happened, I was filled with revulsion at her, just as I had been filled with the revulsion at her sister. Still, she kept increasing her whoring, remembering the days when she was young, fornicating in the land of Egypt. Yes, she lusted after their male prostitutes, whose members are like those of donkeys, who ejaculated like stallions. You yearned for the lewdness of your girlhood when the Egyptians used to fondle your nipples and caress your young breasts. Therefore, Olivia, here is what Adonai Elohim says. I will raise up your lovers against you, the ones who fill you with revulsion, and bring them against you from every side. Men of Babal and all the Kasdim, Bachad, Shoah, Koah. With them all the men of Ashur, good-looking young men, all of them governors, rulers, commanders, and officers, all on horseback. They will advance on you armed with chariots, wagons, with an army drawn, many people. They will array themselves against you from every side with breastplates, shields, and helmets. I will give them the authority to judge, and they will judge you as they see fit. I will direct my jealousy against you, so that they will deal with you in fury. They will cut off your nose and ears, and what is left of you will die by the sword. They will seize your sons and daughters, and those who remain of you will be consumed by the fire. They will strip you of your clothes and seize your fine jewels. Thus I will put an end to your lewdness and your fornication brought from the land of Egypt, so that you will no longer raise your eyes towards them and remember Egypt anymore. For this is what Adonai Elohim says. I'm about to hand you over to those who hate you, those who fill you with revulsion, and they will deal with you in hatred, seize everything you have worked for, and leave you naked and exposed. Full shame of your whoring will be exposed, your lewdness and your fornication. These things I will be done to you because you have gone fornicating with the nations and because you are defiled with their idols. You walk down your sister's path so that I will put her cup on your hand, Elohim says. You will drink from your sister's cup, a cup both deep and wide, full right up to the brim with scorn and derision, filling you with drunkenness and sorrow, a cup of horror and devastation, the cup of your sister's Shamron. You will drink it, you will drain it, then you will gnaw it to shreds and tear out your breast, for I have spoken it, says Adonai Elohim. Therefore this is what Adonai Elohim says, because you forgot me, flung me behind your back, you will bear the guilt of your lewdness and whoring. Therefore Adonai said to me, human being, are you ready to judge Olah and Oholibah? Then confront them with their disgusting practices, for they committed adultery. Their hands are dripping with blood. They committed adultery with their idols, and they offered their sons, whom they bore to me, these idols to eat. Moreover, they have done this to me as well. They defiled my sanctuary on the same day, and they profaned my Shabbats. For after killing their children for their idols, they came to the same day in my sanctuary to profane it. They did this in my house. Worse still, you sent a messenger summoning the men to come from a distance, and they came. For them you washed yourself, painted your eyes, decked yourself with your finery, and sat on a sumptuous bed with a table arranged before it, on which you put my incense and my olive oil. The noise of a carefree crowd could be heard there. Many of the men were brought in drunk from the desert. They put bracelets on their hands and magnificent crowns on their heads. I thought, that woman, she worn out from all her adulteries. But they still go to fornicate with her, for everyone went into her, just as a man goes into a prostitute. So then when Olah and Oholibah, those debauched women, nevertheless, there are righteous men who will judge them as adulterers and murderers and supposed to be judged, because they are adulterers, and blood is dripping from their hands. Here's what Adonai Elohim says: summon an assembly and punish them. Give them over to terror and plunder. Let the assembly stone them to death, dispatch them with their swords, kill their sons and daughters, and burn their houses to the ground. Thus I will put an end to the lewdness in the land, so that all women may be taught not to imitate your lewdness. For you will receive the punishment your lewdness deserves. You will pay the penalty for your idolatries. Then you will know that I am Adonai Elohim. The word of Adonai came to me on the 10th day in the 10th month of the 9th year. Human being, write down today's date, because on this very day the king of Babel has begun to attack Jerusalem. Tell this allegory to these rebels. Say that Adonai Elohim says, put a pot on the fire, put it there, pour water on it, put it in pieces of meat, all the best parts, the thighs, the shoulder, fill it with the choicest cuts, taken from the pick of the flock, and pile the bones underneath. Bring it to a rolling boil, till all it's cooked, even the bones. Therefore Adonai Elohim says, woe to the city drenched with blood, to the pot whose scum is in it, whose scum has not been removed. Empty it piece by piece without troubling to draw lots. For her blood is still in her. She poured it on bare rock. She did not pour it on the ground to cover it with dust. So in order to rouse my fury and excite my vengeance, I have fixed her blood there on the bare rock, where it would not be covered. Therefore Adonai Elohim says this: woe to the city drenched with blood. I myself will make a huge bonfire, heap on the wood, light it, cook the meat, and add the spices. The bones can be burned. Put an empty pot on the coals, heat it till its copper bottom glows, till its impurity melts inside it, and its scum is burned away. But the effort is in vain. Its layers of scum will not leave it. So into the fire with its scum. Because of your filthy lewdness, because you refused to be purified when I wanted to purify you, now you will not be purified from your filth until I have sanctified my fury on you. I, Adonai, have spoken, and it will happen. I will do it. I will not turn back. I will not refrain or spare or relent. They will judge you as your ways and deeds deserve, says Adonai Elohim. The word of Adonai came to me, human being, with a single blow I am about to deprive you of the delight of your eyes. But you are not to lament, weep, or let your tears run down. Sigh silently. Don't observe mourning for the dead. Bind your turban on your head. Put your sandals on your feet. Don't cover your upper lip, and don't eat the food people prepare for mourners. I spoke to the people in the morning, and that evening my wife died. So I did the following morning as I had been ordered. The People ask me, won't you tell us that what actions of yours mean for us? I answer them, the word of Adonai came to me telling me to speak to the house of Israel and say that this is what Adonai Elohim says. I'm about to profane my sanctuaries, the pride of your strength, the delight of your eyes and your heart's desire. Your sons and your daughters whom you have left behind will die by the sword. But you are to do as I have done, not cover your upper lip, not eat the food people prepare for mourners. Put your turbans on your hand and your sandals on your feet, and neither observe mourning nor cry. Rather, because of your crimes, you will pine away and groan to one another. Thus, Ezekiel will be a sign for you. You will do just what he has done. When this happens, you will know that I am Adonai Elohim. As for you, human being, on the day when I take away from them their strongholds, their crowning joy, the delight of their eyes, their heart's desire, their sons and daughters, on the day a fugitive will come and bring you the news. On that day your mouth will be open, for you will speak to the survivor. No longer be silent. In this way you will be a sign to them, and they will know that I am Adonai.